Good evening and a very warm welcome to Radio and Television Tonga news package for the hour. Making headlines, 2 new cabinet ministers and 1 people representative to Parliament took their oath this morning. Her Royal Highness Princess Angelika launched her first published book, The Essence of the Tongan Women and Men, Duties and Responsibilities. And His Royal Highness Crown Prince Nuku'alofa presented 53 certificates of graduates from the Hango Agricultural Institute for the year 2022. Now, I'm Vaifonatu Pola with the stories in detail. 2 new Member of Parliament were sworn in this morning, together with 1 Cabinet Minister, after the Honourable Speaker of Parliament, Lord Fafanua, took their oaths. The new Minister of Finance, Revenue and Custom, Honourable Teofilusi Tiweti, and Hapai 12 People's Representative, Moalefi Now, are the newly sworn-in MPs, while Lord Vaya was also sworn in as the new Cabinet Minister for Internal Affairs. His Majesty King Tupou VI approved Honourable Teofilusi Tiweti's appointment to the role of Finance, Revenue and Custom Minister and Lord Vaya to the role of Minister of Internal Affairs. This morning's ceremony was joined by the new People's Representative of Hapai 12 to Parliament, Moalefi Now. Lord Vaya, who also is the Chairman of the Whole House Committee, but since he has been appointed to Cabinet, and so a Chairman will be selected to replace him. The Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, Lord Fafanua, and the Prime Minister, Honourable Angelika, also signed the oaths of the new MPs. Honourable Angelika also congratulated the new MPs and hopes they will work collaboratively for a prosperous Tonga. Her Royal Highness Angelika launched her first published book, The Essence of the Tongan Women and Men, Duties and Responsibilities. This took place at the Queensalote College Hall last Saturday, where Her Royal Highness also held a book signing program. Mark Ake with the detail.
The Essence of the Tongan Woman and Man, Duties and Responsibilities is a Tongan cultural manual to aid, guide and instruct how to better effectuate duties and responsibilities as a Tongan woman and man to the family and the nation. During her remarks, Her Royal Highness Princess Angelika Tuku'alofa said the concern is that the morals of Tongan culture and their respective responsibilities have begun to fade due to foreign influences. She says this is the essence of the Tongan woman and man, and it needs to be taught and reminded to children and today's generation with a more vivid and deeper understanding of Tongan culture. Her Royal Highness says Tongan traditional customs are very important as it is the foundation of the country's wealth. She says a big damage and complete loss will occur if the leaders are weakened in protecting and maintaining the knowledge of Tonga's foundation. She adds information in this book is not to complete and provide details to various aspects of the roles of the Tongan people, but it aims to help address various aspects of Tonga's people as the royals' responsibilities differ from the people's responsibilities. Meanwhile, signed copies of the books sold for 150 pa'anga and unsigned copies were sold for 100 pa'anga. The Deputy Principal of the Queensalote College, Folata Finau, and another woman who brought the book, Mele Whakatau, said they were grateful for the book as it will help remind them and teach students and children their responsibilities as Tongans. Only 150 copies were imported to Tonga and 10 pa'anga was taken from each copy to help with the recovery efforts from the Hunga Tonga Hunga Hapai eruption and tsunami in January. However, this book is Her Royal Highness Princess Angelika Tuku'alofa's first published book, a gift to her people at present and for future generations. The book was written in the Tongan language and translated into English and published by the Twinnies Publishing Company in Sydney, Australia.
The Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, Lord Fafanua, was ordered to continue this morning's deliberations on an in-house session for the Criminal Act 2022 discussions. This comes after the Noble No. 2 representative of Ava'u, Lord Tuilakepa, requested that the discussions on this act not be broadcasted due to its sensitivity. Alice Tupou with more on that story.
The Minister of Law and the Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Sami Kuitavaipulu, brought up an amendment to the Criminal Act 2022. According to Clause 18 of the Criminal Act, this law must apply as criminal law against the boys and girls who are abused, but due to the current law, only girls who are abused can go to court. However, the amendment calls for the inclusion of boys that are abused. The amendment comes after the court recorded the abuse of a boy recently. Meanwhile, the Noble representative of Vava'o, Lord Tuilakeba, asked for details of the crime, but Honorable Sami Waipulu said it is not wise to broadcast the details in the media because the words used in court are taboo to Tongan culture and way of living. This prompted Lord Tuilakeba to request for an in-house session. The deliberations on other Parliament agendas were streamed live on Radio Tonga. However, the issue of the in-house deliberations on Criminal Law 2022 will be detailed later. Reporting for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Alice Tupo.
The first Global Challenge competition was held in Geneva, Switzerland, with the hopes of strengthening and empowering the talent of students in the field of science and developing the skills needed to contribute to the fight against the effects of climate change. Mark Ake reports.
This was the aim of the first Global Challenge competition, where 5 students from the University of the South Pacific Tongan campus participated and won silver. Speaking to Radio and Tonga News, the manager of this team, Lofan Tupo, says the aim of this competition was for countries to create robots that can collect carbon dioxide and carbon gases. Tonga won silver out of 180 participating countries. Tonga competed in the 2018-29 editions of the first Global Challenge, and they returned this year after the 2020 and 2021 events were cancelled due to COVID-19. The students that represented Tonga are aged 18 and below.
His Royal Highness Crown Prince Tupotua Ulukalala presented 53 certificates to graduates of the Hango Agricultural Institute for 2022. And the highlight of this year's occasion is the graduation of the first 2 graduates from the Institute undergraduate program, the Bachelor of Agriculture Level 7. We'll have more on that story. The Agricultural Institute of Hango is one of the 2 institutes of the Free Wesleyan Church, established as an agricultural school for students in the kingdom who wish to further their studies in agriculture. The 53 graduates consist of students who studied 5 agricultural courses at the institute. The Crown Prince Tupotua Ulukalala presented 5 students with their Certificate of Agriculture Level 3, while 9 students received their Certificates of Agriculture Level 4. Meanwhile, 19 students received their Diploma of Agriculture Level 5, with 18 students with their Advanced Diploma in Agriculture Level 6. Crown Prince Tupotua Ulukalala then presented the certificates of the top 2 graduates of the Institute, Salesi Kaufusi Kauvaka and Melefa Tupulota Tupo, receiving their Bachelor of Agriculture Level 7. Kauvaka and Tupo are the very first ever students to graduate from their undergraduate program of Hango Agricultural School, obtaining their Bachelor of Agriculture degree. Meanwhile, the Crown Prince Tupotua Ulukalala then praised the graduation as a new standard level of achievement attained by the Institute of having their very first degree program in the school. The principal and director of the Institute, who is also the president of the Free Wesleyan Church Schools, Reverend Dr. Devita Halapalefau, in his welcoming address announced major developments for the school next year. This includes a new butchery course funded by the New Zealand government and World Bank. Palefau added there are also plans for a new science laboratory facility to be constructed in the school in partnership with the ex-students and alumni of the institute. Meanwhile, part of their major highlight for the next academic year is having a new administration consisting of a new principal, Reverend Tuluta Fisihoi, new deputy principal, Reverend William Ivea, and Reverend Isleli Latu as new manager for the school's outdoor activities for the farm. However, Hango Agricultural Institute is located on the western side of Ohonua to Ta'anga Ewa, where 55 students enrolled with 12 teaching staff and 7 ancillary staff, as well as additional 6 staff working at the school's farm. The teachers and students of Tonga Side School are delighted with the completion of their newly school campus after years of students from all classes sharing classrooms with other schools. Mark Ake will tell you more on that story.
The Honourable Prime Minister, Hokal Meliku, who is also the Minister of Education and Training, marked the completion of the Tonga Side School's new campus last Friday. This new building is located at the Mataka in Havelu. Hokal Meliku says the students and teachers of Tonga Side School will all gather at this new building tomorrow. This was after all the school's classes and activities were held in different schools after the original school campus was demolished. Deputy CEO of the Ministry of Infrastructure, Devita Lavemai, says the new school building is 91.9 meters long and 11.55 meters wide. The building was built by Texing Construction and was worth 3 million paanga. Lauemai says there is a total of 18 classrooms in the new building and is capable of holding 720 students. Teachers and students will start using this new building tomorrow.
And a former senior customs officer, Paula Naitoko, aged 59, was sentenced last Friday to 6 years imprisonment for importing a substantial amount of methamphetamine and firearms concealed in a box from the United States in 2019. The last 12 months of the sentence was suspended for 2 years on conditions, meaning he is serving 5 years at Huatolitoli prison. Alice Tupo reports.
In July, Honourable Justice New convicted Naitoko on 2 counts of causing to import 6,662 grams of methamphetamine found in a box by customs on the 19th of April 2019 at the Queensalote Wharf in Maufanga. He was also guilty of causing to import prohibited goods without licenses, namely 1 semi-automatic rifle, 2 semi-automatic pistols and 39 bullets. Justice New sentenced him on the last Friday at the Supreme Court since he was a presiding judge in his trial. In a 13-page judgment, it stated that until he committed this offence in 2019, Naitoko had an unblemished record at the Customs Department, having served a total of some 36 years. The probation officer, however, pointed out that he continued to maintain that he did not commit these 2 offences. That meant that he is not remorseful for what he had done and is aggravated by the fact that he committed these offences in breach of the trust which was placed by government upon him as a senior customs officer, whose primary duty is to prevent or detect the commission of such offences. The goods imported are of very serious nature and amount and recommended a custodial sentence be imposed, but that part thereof be suspended on conditions. However, the illicit drugs were ordered to be destroyed by the police and the firearms and ammunition forfeited to the Crown. Reporting for Radio and Television Tonga News, I'm Alice Tupo.
That wraps up this evening's news package, but before we part, here's one final look at today's top stories. 2 cabinet ministers and 1 new people's representative to Parliament took their oaths this morning. Her Royal Highness Princess Angelika launched her first published book, The Essence of the Tongan Women and Men, Duties and Responsibilities. And His Royal Highness Crown Prince Nuku'alofa presented the certificates of 53 graduates from the Hango Agricultural Institute for academic year 2022. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your company. I'm Vaifono Tupola. Good evening.